What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to Season 2 of the Ronan Bell Show. I am your host, Ronan Bell, and with me today is a woman that I call Mom, but the word Mom doesn't really reflect everything that this woman does. So allow me to introduce my mother, Dara Bell. Mom, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing excellent.
All right, good. So, before we get into anything else, every time I start a show, I like to just introduce you to the audience. Obviously, I know who you are because she's my mom. But could you tell the audience a little bit about yourself?
I'm Ronan's mom, which is my very favorite job. My other job is I'm a municipal bond broker's broker for a small firm that we're self-owned called Regional Brokers. I'm a knitter. I love to thrift store shop. Anything else you want to know about me?
Where'd you go to high school, college?
I went to Marple Newtown High School and University of Delaware.
All right. So, let's start from the beginning. What was high school like for you? Because a lot of the people out here that watch this podcast don't really understand what life was like, 40 years ago. Could you just tell the viewers out there a little bit about that?
Well, we didn't get caught as easily because we didn't have phones. So it was a lot like your high school. It was, there was cliques and there was, things going on. There were drug raids and there were the people that were stoners and there were the people that were jocks. It was a lot like it is now. It's just that I don't think it was as intense. We didn't have as many AP classes. We weren't as driven to decide in high school what we wanted to be for the rest of our lives.
Well, how do you think that, going back that long ago, how do you think that learning has changed let's start from high school, we'll go to college a little bit later, but how do you think that learning has changed through high school over the past 40 years? Seeing what I'm doing and seeing what you did in high school.
We didn't learn. There was no technology in high school. I took a computer programming class that I think it was Fortran. That's how old it was. But and we had typing class, which you don't have typing class. Y'all can type.
Whoa, we had typing class when we were in 6th grade. It was kind of cool.
Yeah,
that teacher is scheming to make a salary, by the way.
But it was different. We were, no one knew what you were doing because no one could find you.
In that sense, I understand that. Obviously, it's really hard to get away with doing anything nowadays. Even if you're doing something right, it's hard to not get recognized by someone on the street. A lot of people I know out there, some YouTubers will go give people that are homeless food or something, and then they'll get caught on camera, and then it looks like they're doing it for publicity. When in reality, I'm sure they're just doing it to be nice people. But that's the reason that, life with a phone might not be everything that it's cracked up to be. I'm sure when you were in high school, you probably wish you had a phone, right? Or had some kind of way of communicating with someone.
Oh, we had a phone. We had a bag phone. Pop was really cool, and we had a bag phone. I was not allowed to use it, though.
Why weren't you allowed to use a phone?
Because it was really expensive to call. That was the lap of luxury, having a bag phone.
So what did you even do for fun in high school if you couldn't use your phone or anything?
Oh, we went to dances. We went to that's the other thing is now you don't have. We had pulsations and we had this place called the Rainbow Room. There are places you could go under 18 that didn't serve alcohol where you could have, you could go and hang out with your friends. You guys don't have as many places to hang out as we did. We have bowling alleys we could hang out at. You guys don't really have those. And they're kind of skeevy now. They weren't then. Movie theaters. It's insane amount of money to go to a movie now, but that was cool. That was what you did.
I completely understand. I wish that a lot more people could go back and see what that experience was like. And I'm sure you wish that, you could put yourself in my shoes too and see what high school was like now and see how much different it is. But let's go into college. Where did you exactly go to university, and what did you think that you wanted to do when you were a freshman in college?
Well, I wanted to be a rock star, but Grandma put the kibosh on that. There's no future in being a rock star, she told me. So, I was a business major. I was a finance major. Not that I'm great at numbers. I'm good at money math, but not real math. And, Delaware was fun back then. It was a lot like Penn State is now. I mean, it was a good time. College is a great time.
I mean, thinking that like back then that you can still say it was a good time. I'm sure the way that we have fun, the way you had fun, isn't that much different.
Nope.
But the thing is, with us now, we all have a phone in our pocket, which is insane because those nights were like you didn't want to go out. Like, what did you exactly do?
We just kind of hung out and watched TV in the basement of the dorm because, and no one had phones. Very few people had phones in the rooms. There was a phone in the hall. So if you got a call, people would, yell down the hall that you had to go run into the payphone. I mean, it seems ridiculous now, but that's the way it was.
That seems absolutely insane.
It was
People used to run down. You had payphones?
We had payphones.
How much did it cost to make a call?
I don't know. But I had a calling card. Like you had a calling card, but you used to have to type in all these phone numbers. It was insane.
That's kind of cool. I kind of want to see what a payphone's like. I don't think
I've
seen one payphone in my entire life.
I think they still have them in the airports, but I don't know if they actually work.
I honestly can't see anyone using a payphone nowadays.
No, because everybody has their own phone.
Why would
Unless your phone's dead.
Yeah, pretty much. Payphone's like the emergency thing to use.
Yeah.
Let's go into a little bit. College did not start out the way that you wanted it to.
So yes, I had a lot of fun my first semester. A little too much fun. Almost failed out, but it's okay. I'm doing okay now. I mean, I kind of turned it around. I was coming in from the parties and my roommate was going to class. But, I learned the hard way. You gotta kind of buckle down and it was fine. It worked out.
How do you think that helped you now? Like looking back on that, or at least looking back into college, like how do you think that whole experience kind of helped you push through the college grind or college just I don't even know what to really say. It's the college work, the college experience, I should say. Yeah.
Balance. It teaches balance. I mean, that's why I didn't do well. I wasn't learning to balance my social life, which is a lot of fun, with my academic life, which, and you learn that now. You have to do that now. And especially you, because you're a cheerleader. You have extra stuff that you do.
I mean, I think that back then it was harder to be held accountable than it is nowadays because there's a lot more things that can happen to you if one little thing goes wrong in your college career. Like aside from the grade standpoint, just having your phone in your pocket, if you get caught doing something, like you can get kicked out of college. And honestly, like it could just be you having fun with your friends, but since it's on camera, that you're not able to at least attend that university anymore, which is honestly crazy.
But people got kicked out back then. And when we had fraternities got kicked out, I remember somebody, I think they used Easy Off oven cleaner all over one of the pledges and they got kicked off.
What is Easy Off?
It's like a caustic oven cleaner that they for some reason sprayed all over the pledge.
Huh.
He suffered chemical burns.
That's awful.
It was horrible, yeah.
I mean, at least things that are like messed up now are still messed up back then. I'm sure nothing's really changed.
No, I don't think college life has really changed all that much. It's just that, again, somebody's always watching now.
So let's transfer into what did you got this degree, I'm ready to take on the real world. What did you think that you wanted to do when you came out of college? Make
a lot of money. That's really what my whole goal was. And, I kind of meandered through the business world a little bit. I had a couple not so great jobs when I first got out, and then I started working with my friend Leslie and her brother, and I got more into finance, and then I was a sales assistant, so I wasn't a salesperson. I was a sales assistant because I really don't think I had the confidence back then to sell, because you have to be pretty confident to be a salesperson. And I moved to Houston, and I lived for a year with Steven, and not with Steven. Let me rephrase that. I lived for a year and worked for Steven, and I hated Houston. And not that Houston's bad. I was just really homesick. I'm an East Coast girl. But I learned a lot. Plus, I was working 7 days a week. I paid my dues. That was the year I paid my dues. We worked And Steven did too. We worked from sun up to sundown. It was just crazy.
How do you think that? Let's don't go into so much a job that you had in Houston, but those first couple jobs that you said were bad. Like you just straight up hated everything about. What was going through your mind really at that point? And then when you finished them, looking back on them, like back in them in time and looking back on them like a year from now, what do you think those really did for you?
No, I think they taught you what you don't want to do. I think they teach you perseverance, which is important. Still needed a job. I needed money to do things because I like to do things. I really think that all the things that you don't succeed in teach you something. They teach you perseverance.
And I think that that's what people have a hard time figuring out when they don't like something, just think it's stupid, and then they just, I don't know, like go on with their lives. They just, either if they don't like a class, they're just like, well, I'm going to fail this, I'm never going to do this again. And then it just exits their mind and exits their mental path to where you can think of it as a learning experience rather than just throwing it under the bus and acting like it never happened.
Yeah.
And what I want to go into next is why did you end up leaving Houston? Obviously, you were homesick, but what was there something bigger than that? Did you kind of want to pursue something else?
No, I mean, I loved what I did. I was doing something that was very exciting back then. I was working in one of these big bond shops, and there was people slinging around. I wrote a ticket once, and the commission on the ticket was $150,000. I mean, in 1990, which was insane. So it was, but with all the fast money came a lot of problems. A lot of people had a lot of problems, with having such fast money. But I mainly left Houston because I was just burned out. I mean, I was physically ill from working so much. But again, it was was it a bad experience? There was bad things to it, but I got my Series 7. I learned a crap ton of stuff about business and finance and how to sell. I mean, I was watching people who were selling that were insanely awesome salespeople.
Obviously, it's hard learning how to do something without learning from someone that knows what the heck they're doing. It's really hard. I mean, if you have someone to like guide you, were they kind of mentoring you in a sense, or it was just you kind of trying to be like them after, like you saw that you picked up on, all right, this guy did this guy did that, and then he made a sale. Is that kind of what went through your head, or were you kind of just going through the job, just trying to make some money?
At that point, maybe I think I was more trying just to make money. I mean, and they were making a lot of money. It was a very exciting time. And there was a lot of bad things that went on there. That firm went under because they were selling something to people that shouldn't have been buying it. So, and that a lot of that went on in the 90s where people were buying investments that they shouldn't have owned.
I mean, the karma always comes back around at the end of the day.
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of the salespeople were just salespeople. They didn't understand they didn't understand the basis for why they were selling it. Now, the person I was working for was insanely brilliant. He knew exactly what he was doing, and he's still doing it. I think he's retiring soon, but he knew exactly when to put people in, when to take people out. He was brilliant. I mean, it was a great experience. So, even though I was really sick, and even though that, there were bad things, there were a lot of good things in that experience. I mean, I don't think I'd be here today where I am now if I didn't do that.
And that's obviously something that's hard to like look when you're there and you're saying, I'm sick, I'm making money, but like this sucks. Like this really does suck. But now looking back on it, like would you want to really change that at all? Like do you wish you never did that?
No, I'm glad I did it. I mean, I'm glad I did it when I was young and I had the energy to do it. And, I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand that you paid your dues back then, especially in my business, in the finance business. You pay your dues, you work your way up. So you have to do a lot of crappy things, get a lot of cups of coffee, take a lot of crud from other people. And that's how you get to the higher up.
Should the audience picture this as like the Wolf of Wall Street?
I mean, there is a lot of the Wolf of Wall Street that is very, very true. So,
It happened like when you were working?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There's a lot of very, very true things, like where they used to take the dollars out, like the liar's poker thing, where they take the dollar bills out and they play poker with the dollar bills. That happened all the time.
I mean, at least that nothing's really changed. Business is still kind of sometimes, it doesn't always go in the right direction. There's obviously some sleazy firms out there, and there's some sleazy people.
Yeah, in every business.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter. There's always going to be someone bad. There's always going to be someone to try and ruin your day. I mean, there's always going to be someone to try and brighten your day, hopefully. But aside from that, let's go into, after working in Houston, you come back here, and what did you exactly do from there?
When I first moved back here, I took a part-time position because I couldn't find a job doing the kind of bonds that I did in Houston, because I was doing government bonds, not municipal bonds. And Philadelphia is a very municipal bond type city. So I did some temp work, and I met your father, so that's why you're here.
Shout out Joe Bell.
Shout out to Joe Bell. But after that, I actually got into contact with somebody that I knew through another bond trader that I knew, and he got me a job on a trading desk, taking somebody's position who was on maternity leave, and I was there for her maternity leave, which was, I don't know, 8 months. And then they didn't want to let me go, so they had me doing other things which were really boring. And so then I cold called back in the day. They don't have this anymore, but there was a little blue dealer book where you could see all the dealers in your city, and I cold called everybody in the city to find my next job, and I did.
And where exactly did you work after you made all those calls?
After I worked, was a trading assistant at another smaller firm. When I was the sales assistant, I worked for Butcher and Singer, which is not there anymore. But then I worked for a small firm called Commonwealth Securities, and I sat next to probably one of the most brilliant traders I've ever known. And he, God rest his soul, he's passed, but and next to an amazing woman salesperson named Cindy Henry. Shout out to Cindy. I sat and listened to what they did all day long. I mean, I assisted them, and it was very enlightening. I mean, I learned everything.
It's amazing that how, obviously, like, learning online wasn't really a thing back then.
Oh, no.
I mean, you didn't have, like, was YouTube even around?
I don't think
YouTube,
so.
maybe like some education.
We wrote out our tickets. I mean, they were manual tickets. Everything was manual. We used to keep our inventory in a flip book. That's how long. I mean, it was a whole other world. I mean, now it's so. We used to, like, the things that I do, the bid one, they were like on a teleprompter, like a teleticker.
Well, the point that I'm trying to get at is that, it's insane how much you can learn from other people. Like what you were saying. You said I was just listening and watching what they do. If you want to go do something, find someone that's already doing it. If you want to be an entrepreneur or anything like that, go check out that guy Gary Vaynerchuk and see what he does. Obviously, he's really good at it. My mom did the same thing. You need to find something that if you want to be passionate about and you don't 100% know how to do anything, just ask, just watch, just listen. It's amazing how much you can learn if you just get off your phone, like actually pay attention, like don't wander off in your head, like don't get distracted, like actually pay attention to what someone's saying or what someone's doing. And that's my TED Talk on that. But talk about joining RBI exactly.
Well, the firm that I work for, small firm. And again, small firms in the finance business, they go in, they come out, they go under. And, we were starting to suffer. We had a bad year. And basically, if you have one bad year, they shut you down. It's a very unforgiving business. And I had spoken to the people at RBI. I was a trader on a trading desk, so I was one of their customers. And I went into RBI and said, hey, something bad's going to happen here. I need to find a place to land. They offered me a job, and the rest is history.
And working for them, obviously going into that, what was your position when you first started there?
Well, when you first started a broker's broker back in the day, you basically smiled and dialed. We have these things called bid wanted, which is basically like eBay. People are putting bonds, they want to sell their bonds, so they put them on a screen, like an eBay screen, and you, as a newbie, would sit there with a list, and you would go through all the people that you were supposed to call about that kind of bond, and you would basically make phone calls all day long. I had 2 phones, one in each hand, and that's what you did all day to try to get bids on those bonds.
And that's how you make your money, right? Just from buying and sell for them selling your bonds through you or something.
Right, I make a commission, so I get
Okay.
I'm a middle person, is the best way. That's one of the you can do situational trading where you own something and Dad would own something, and I know that you're looking for the kind of thing that Dad has, so I buy it from Dad and sell it to you.
Okay. So you make your money like if you're signing a lease, someone gives you a commit. I hope someone out there gets what she's saying. At least it's going through my head. But the grind to get to where you are now. What was that like? Just being successful like quarter after quarter, or was it something bigger than that? Just being more of a leader in the office than other people.
I don't really think it's about being a leader. I think it's about working hard. I mean, I work really hard. I mean, I was there early. I left late. I did everything I had to. I worked really hard. I still work hard. I mean, you don't make money by not working hard. You don't. Especially not in my business.
Well, just being successful in general. I think many people think that, at least our generation's into instant gratitude. Like if I answer a question on the test, like I want to know if I got the right answer or not right away. But like you have to wait. Like you have to be patient. And that's something that is hard to contemplate to people nowadays is just the idea of being patient. Like, how do you think that patience has changed over? I think more people are just very impatient. Like, I see people online just antsy, like they don't want to be there at all. Like, how do you think that that's really changed? Do you think that since you've been in the office, seeing more people come through, talking to more people on the phone, have you realized that people have been a little bit more impatient?
Well, I think since the COVID thing, everybody's impatient. But I don't know if they're impatient. I just think that, you mean my generation versus your generation?
Yeah.
Okay, well we'll do my generation. I feel that, and it's not just your generation. I think it's just people in general. People forget that, our grandfathers worked 50 years for the same company and got the watch at the end of the 50 years or 40 years or whatever. And they went to work, did their job, and that's really do your job. People don't do their job.
Yeah.
How many times do you hear me scream that when I'm having a bad day? Why can't people just do their job? I do my job. I know what my job is, and I do it. There's a lot of people that don't.
It's crazy to think about that. Like you're hired to do something, like you're getting paid to do something. Like might as well do it. Like do what you're being paid for to do. I just think it's insane. At least I mean she's my mom, so I probably think the same way as her. But to be completely unbiased, I think that that's true as well. I think more people need to, if you're gonna do something, do it. Like if I'm listing a trade or something, like I'm gonna try and sell it. It's not like I'm gonna list it and not putting any effort into actually doing it. Making a podcast, it's not like I'm gonna not put any effort into doing it. But yeah, I mean, going into something else is now being at a powerful woman in business. How much more does it mean to you looking back on like where you started at?
I'm proud of what I've done, if that's what you're asking. I'm proud of where I am and, the things that I've been able to accomplish and provide for my family. I think that's great.
How was the grind just looking back on all those days where like you said you worked 70 hours a week or whatever it was, and now you're making a lot of money. how do you think that the grind really is worth it in the end?
Oh, it's totally worth it because I don't think you can get there without the grind. I think you. I don't believe. You know, hard, success isn't due. It's a small part luck. I mean, there's people that are successful that are just lucky who stumbled upon the next, I don't know, Apple computer. You know, that there are those people. There's always going to be those people. But for the majority of people who are successful, they work really hard. You know, and I mean, I think that you appreciate good. I think I've taught you to appreciate people and it's not just me. There's people that are doing other things that are not necessarily white collar things that they work hard and you appreciate them for what they do.
Well, I think it just comes down to if you've done it. I talk about wisdom on this podcast, and the experience of just if you work hard, you're obviously and you've made it. You're obviously going to appreciate someone else that's working hard, rather than someone who isn't working hard at all. Like you probably don't appreciate what they're doing if they're just throwing up something, if they're just half-assing their job or whatever. Like you probably don't appreciate that as much, like right or wrong in that sense. Just
That's true, but I think that too, like if you expect certain things of people, they kind of give it back to you too. I mean, I think that in your everyday life, you have somebody working in your house, you have somebody that you need to do something for you. If you treat them with respect, and honestly, I see that in you. You treat people with respect. That what they give back to you.
Well, I think that more people need to just be respectful of other people. You really don't know what's going on 100% about that person that you let the door just swing in their face. They could be already having a really bad day and you just made it 30 times worse because you just didn't do the right thing and hold the door open for them. Be a little bit more courteous out there, guys. Like, you don't understand what someone else is going through, so you should try and do your best to at least make a good impression. Do something out of their 100% of the day. Do that good 1% thing to maybe try and switch them up out of a bad mood. Do something that's just gonna brighten their day a little bit. It's not that hard. Even if you're in a bad mood, it's not hard. And I guarantee if you're in a bad mood and help someone out, I guarantee you will be put in a better mood after that.
It's true.
Going into another topic, obviously I'd like to talk about adversity on the show just because I think adversity really defines who everyone is in life. So what adversity did you go through in order to become as successful as you are?
Adversity. I don't really feel like I faced a lot of adversity. I mean, it's hard to be a woman, yes, in a business. Doing my side of the business, it's much easier to be a woman because the majority of traders are men and they want to talk to you if you're a girl. And that's great. Our firm has gone through a lot of changes. We've lost people to some drug and alcohol issues. We've had some other issues, some regulation issues. There was a lot of times when I wasn't sure if we were going to make it through, and we did. We're still here.
Yeah, we ain't leaving.
We ain't leaving.
And something that I want to say is that what did all that teach you? Obviously, the adversity strikes everyone. You got through it. What did that teach you, looking back on it now?
What did it teach me? It taught me that you just got to keep on pushing through. I mean, just if there's something that you want at the end of the day, you just have to keep moving towards it. You cannot let things block you.
Are you trying to say keep on keeping on?
I'm trying to say that keep on keeping on, yes.
Guys, if you didn't know, I have merchandise on the RonanBellShow.com. Go cop a hoodie. Support your boy. Help me out. But other than that, I like the point that you're making is that you cannot be stagnant. If something happens, what are you gonna do? Something happens to everyone. Something bad happens to every single person on this entire planet. No one just goes through life 100% all the time. And the point that I want to make is that you're in not a rude sense, like you're older than I am. You've experienced way more life than I have. It's just the facts. You're obviously going to know some things that I don't. At least speaking in that sense, because of just you've experienced more life. You have way more wisdom than I do right now.
I'm glad that we're recording this so that someday I can throw that back in your face.
I'm waiting. I'm waiting for it.
It's coming.
Okay. No, I'm sure. I'm sure of it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you really had to battle in order to become the person that you are in business? That you think? Is there anything you had to like get over internally?
I mean, yes, people saying no, because when you're a salesperson, people say no to you all day long. All day long, people tell me no.
Like,
and I'm a people pleaser. I mean, that's really hard for me to take when somebody says no to me.
Like not getting what you want.
It's not necessarily getting what I want, but people say no. Like, no, yeah, I guess it is not getting what you want. But I mean, it is that's part of being a salesperson is people saying no to you all the time.
I mean, it's obviously something hard to.
It is, because some people can just like let it brush them off, and I mean, also too, I am very, and you know this, very involved with the people that I do business with. I mean, if they suffer, I suffer, and sometimes I have to take a step back from that because I'm very empathetic. I mean, and that's part of what makes me really good at what I do too.
There's obviously like always like the yin and yang to things like that. Like obviously you're gonna be personal, you might get more sales. But like something happens and you're like, dang, like I have an emotional connection to that person and they're suffering and it makes me feel bad. There's always two sides to the story.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, is what it is. You gotta just there's always like you were saying earlier, like finding a balance is very hard and many people never find the balance.
True.
In anything. You can take it for anything. An example, whether it be drinking, whether it be just doing work, whether it be school. Just trying to find a balance is way more important than you guys think. I guarantee if you find the balance, you'll be way more satisfied, at least what you're doing. But other than that, after becoming successful, making all this money, obviously, like what motivates you to continue what you're doing?
College tuition. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to stop. I'm proud of. You don't want to. You get to a certain point where you need to continue to hold your own. To like, I am always want to make what I made last year, or do as much as I did last year. Because it's a matter of pride.
What do you think drives you to like do that? Is it still the money at the end of the day?
I don't know if the money helps, but part of it is just, I mean, I'm good at what I do. I'm really proud of the fact that I've been able to create something. And when you create something, I mean, you want to keep it going.
Yeah, company's like your baby at that point.
Yeah, I mean, the people that I work with, my partners are, we are interdependent. Sometimes badly, but we are interdependent. And I mean, we all want to succeed. I mean, we all work together. It's a joke. There is no I in RBI, but we are I want them to do well, just like they want me to do well.
I feel like having a team around you is very important, and business kind of gives you that. Like when you have a company, at least, that if you are having a bad day or something's not going your way or you really messed up, that there's going to be somebody to at least try and help you out. Or if you're doing something wrong, someone's going to call you out on what you're doing. Yeah. I'm really trying hard not to curse, guys, so keep that in mind. But what I'm trying to say is that having someone to hold you accountable is way more important than I think people realize out there.
Yeah. I mean, accountability is very helpful. I mean, and you answer to somebody. Everybody answers to somebody.
There's always another rung to the ladder, or in some sense of what you're doing. And another thing that I want to talk about with you is you've made a lot of money, obviously. But what do you define as success in your mind?
Happiness. Happiness is success. Not happiness all the time, because nobody is happy all the time. Mm-hmm. And that is something that I think people get completely wrong. You're never 100% happy. No one can be 100% happy. If you're happy 60% of the time, you are doing good.
And that's what I think people have this mindset is that money is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, at one point in your life, I'm sure success was not defined by happiness. Or was it always your motivation?
I mean, I worked. I mean, I've been working since I was 12 years old. So, I mean, money's always going to driven. I like to have money. I like to be. I like don't like to depend on other people for that. I like to be self sufficient.
You like to be financially free.
Yeah, financially free. That's a really good way to put it. So financially free. And I mean, being a salesperson, I am financially free. I mean, my whatever. I mean, I'm commission driven. So whatever I make, or as they like to say, we eat what we kill in our business. Um, but I just, I mean, and I genuinely like the people I talk to pretty much every day because I wouldn't talk to them as much as I do if I didn't like them.
And that's something hard. I mean, obviously, you're going to surround yourself with the people that you like. It's just human nature.
But this is people I do business with, not necessarily my.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you do. And I mean, we are interdependent. We are very interdependent. Any industry is interdependent. And people that do specifically what I do understand that. There's a lot of people that, and when you don't understand that, I mean, if somebody loses their job, the first thing that they do is call everybody they know to ask them for a new job. Like, oh, have you heard anything? And you're interdependent.
And it's hard to get that through your head that you're like way more like mankind is way more connected than like you think. At the end of the day, like if something is like really not going right, that someone is going to help you out at least at some point. Like you were saying that like if you got fired from your job, you're gonna call everyone that you know just so you can try and find a job. And I'm sure that those people are realizing that like that's actually tragic. Like you lost your job. You are not going to be able to support yourself nor your family without a job. Help this guy out. At the end of the day, humans just want to help each other out. Don't really love how I'm saying that, but I think in some sense that is true. That at the end of the day, if we all thought of each other as humans and not define us by anything else, I'm sure we'd get way more done. We'd want to help each other out. Someone falls, you pick them back up, kind of thing. I mean, it's just crazy to me how separated this world feels at this moment in time, and that, like, that's what I'm gonna have to grow up into my adult life with: people hating each other in every aspect.
People have hated each other for centuries. I mean, that's not. It's just now because everybody has a phone. Everybody can see that.
Isn't that insane?
I mean, we are just bombarded daily with information. You know what? Sometimes it's better to not know.
And it's the bad things, too.
Yeah.
It's really hard to find the good news stories, guys. Really hard to find the good news stories. The bad ones always show up. Don't let them bring your day down. Look up something good. There's always something that good happens, like, every day. Like that, I'm sure if someone lost their job today and someone helped them find a new job, that's good. Think of that instead of reading whatever it is on the news and it's just bad and it just makes you think a little bit different. It really puts a damper on your mood. Don't let it put a damper on your mood. There's something good that's happening as well. The world keeps rotating, guys. You got to keep going.
That's perseverance.
100%. 100% perseverance. Moving through the bad times, getting through the good ones.
Or keep on keeping on.
Yeah, keep on keeping on. Again, to buy my merch. So I asked this question to a lot of people on the show, and if you could turn back the clock right now and change anything or do anything different, would you do it?
Nope.
Why?
No, because, I mean, it shapes everything you do. It's like building blocks. It builds you into what you are now. I mean, if I did something different, I might not have you. And that would be very tragic for all of us.
How would you guys listen to my podcast?
That's true. But I think that, I mean, I'm happy with where I am now in my life. So I would be I don't think I'd change, no.
Not one thing.
I mean, if I could go back now, I'd tell your grandmother to stop smoking because she died of lung cancer. I'd do that. But I don't know. Her not passing away might have changed where I am now, too. So I don't know. I think it's hard to have regrets. I don't believe in regrets. I never have.
That's what I wanted to get out, that you should never regret anything that you've done, even if you mess up. I'm sure it taught you something.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you messed up plenty of times when you were first
Never.
starting out. Yeah,
Never.
you never messed up, Mom. No, my mom's perfect. She doesn't mess up, straight up. But what I'm getting at is that everyone messes up. Everyone has mistakes. No one's freaking perfect. I mean, come on, guys. No one's gonna do the right thing 100% of the time. You might have good intentions or whatever you're doing, but sometimes, it gets away from you. I mean, some things I say on this show, I mean, I really think I should look back on and not have said that, but I've learned from it. You learn from what you say, you learn from your mistakes. Try and, instead of getting mad at yourself for doing something, analyze what you did. Really think through what you did. Realize where you messed up, instead of jumping to these conclusions that I'm an awful person for doing that. You know what I'm saying?
It's true.
Getting at something in that terms. But something that I want to get into is what are some things that life has taught you that you think that could help someone else out there? I like to ask it as, what have you learned? What wisdom have you attained that you want to pass on to someone else?
I will tell you that even on your worst day, that you might think it's the end of the world. It's not the end of the world, but it's hard to see when you're young. It's much easier to see when you're older. I will tell you that, you do have to pay your dues. You have to pay your dues. And sometimes you just got to suck it up, buttercup, and do it. And that's just part of life. I will tell you that I've learned that you have to, I think you should treat everybody with respect. But again, you make me proud because I know you do. But I think the way that you treat people reflects on you. It doesn't reflect on them.
And just things like that you can't learn in a textbook.
No.
That's what I want to try and get you guys to realize. I bring people on the show so you guys can learn from them. Instead of, this is not in writing. You don't have to read anything. All you got to do is throw in your headphones and listen. Takes an hour. Listen to this while you're working out or something. Do this while you're on a run. Do this while, you're trying to get through some homework and you want to listen to your guy Ronan Bell talk, and obviously listen to my mom talk as well. But what I'm trying to get at is that it's crazy the things that you learn from other people through communication. It's crazy about this whole concept of wisdom that you don't need to read anything for. You learn it through other people telling you, stories. It's like almost, what are those things called? Like the fables?
Yep.
The fables that get...
Fables.
Yeah, it just kept getting passed along for generations and generations, and now they are what they are. They're stories. Try and think of this like that. I'm trying to give you guys advice so that one day you might be able to look back on that and say, all right, this person went through that. This person gave me this advice. Maybe I should, maybe suck it up, buttercup, for a change, instead of just being down all the time or whatever. Trying to get through some bad time. Sometimes you got to suck it up. Be accountable. Do your job. What else, Mom? What else would you have to say?
Well, and your grandmother always used to say, you could throw all of your worries into a pile, and I could throw all of my worries and problems into a pile, and at the end of the day, I'm still going to take my own back.
Is that your quote?
No, that's not my quote. That's just a grandmom-ism.
I like that.
That's what Grandmom Karen used to say, and it's true. Your worries and your problems, everybody's got things. Everybody's got, as my mom used to say, their own mishigas, their own thing that's going on. And A, be mindful of that and be kind. And B, don't be so self-centered about, I might have done, these things might have happened to me. And there's bad things that happen to me. There's bad things that happen to you in your lives. But you know what? There's bad things that happen to everybody. That's life. That's why there's country songs. So we can listen to other people's bad things.
That is life, people. That is life. So The last segment on every show is the quote segment. So, Mom, what quote would you like to read for the listeners out there?
I'm gonna use another grandmonism, and she used to say, "Win, lose, or draw, get dressed for them all." In other words, put on your clothes, get up every day, get ready for your day, face your day, and you know what? Some days you're gonna win, some days you're gonna lose, but you know what? You got to just try, because once you stop trying, you're over.
Then you quit.
Yeah, don't be a quitter. No matter what you do, don't be a quitter.
The difference between failing and quitting.
Between failing? Oh no, winners always fail. I failed lots of times. I glossed over those first 2 jobs I had because they were not worthy talking about. I was a failure there. Everybody's a failure at some point in their life.
No one's ever gonna keep getting straight A's the rest of their lives, and obviously saying that metaphorically, but that's not gonna be perfect, guys. Everyone fails. One of the most successful people I know, my mom, failed a lot.
I did.
It happens. But I'm sure that failing helped you so much more than all the times where you actually made a big commission or something.
Yeah, I mean, you learn from failure. You do. That's the only way you learn is if you fail. Because it means you try, but you don't let that get you down, because you know what? It's just part of life. Not everybody wins all the time. That's just not a real thing.
Yeah.
It might be on the internet, but it's not true.
If someone always wins, someone always has to lose, right?
And and there is always going to be someone who wins, somebody who's better looking, makes more money, gets better grades, has a nicer car. But you know what? You just got to be you and keep on keeping on. Buy my baby's merch, please.
But I like what you're saying there. Just be you. Be the best you that you can be.
Yeah, be a rock star. Be your own rock star.
I love it, Mom. Well, before we go on with our night, Mom, I'd just like to thank you for coming on my show and distributing some of the wisdom that you've learned through being this powerful woman in business and just being who you are, your story in general. And I hope that someone out there at least learned something from you, or got some advice, even the littlest thing, that would make my day. I hope that would make your day as well. But Mom, before I turn off the mic, is there anything that you want to plug before we go on?
Yes, keep on keeping on merchandise. You can buy it on his website. It's awesome.
Also check out Ace's Babe. What is it? Ace's Babe 20 on eBay for my mom's thrifting merch.
That's not my moniker on eBay.
Oh, what's your eBay thing?
I'm Ace's Babe. That's it.
Ace's Babe on eBay if you want to check out some of my mom's thrift shop finds, which is also another hobby of hers. So you can give her, maybe give her a follow, maybe check some things out, maybe buy some cool vintage jewelry, some cool vintage clothes. Check it out, guys. But, guys, that is it for the first episode of Season 2 of The Ronan Bell Show. So if you haven't already, follow my podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Click that button so you get notified when every new podcast comes out. If you're listening to this on YouTube, press that subscribe button. Press the bell so you get alerted whenever a new video comes out. And guys, that's pretty much it. I'm really excited to hop on this new season and just really get to working. So, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day, a great rest of your night, and just, as always, y'all, just keep on keeping on.